Alright, we should be live. All being... Oh, there we go. We should be live. All being well, everything's working. I think I clicked on the wrong thing before. You might have seen a black screen. Welcome, everybody. If you're unable to comment in the chat, just subscribe if you're not already. I've got it as subscriber only again, because it's far easier for me to keep track of everything that's going on in here. So welcome, everybody, and thanks for the support. Hope you're doing well wherever you're watching from, and let us know where you're watching from. Alright, we got Lincoln here. How you doing, man? We got Christian. Awesome stuff. 1.5 hours until freedom. Absolutely. Who else we got here? We got Redneck Ninja. Greetings from Florida. Hope you're doing well, mate. G'day from Adelaide. That's Matthew. Awesome stuff. And Type JW. Hope you're doing well. I don't know how to say your name, man, but I try. So I'm going to probably do about an hour of live stream tonight, just at a slightly different time to last time. Not quite as late as it was the last time I was doing a live stream. I probably won't get a chance to do one for a little while now, probably for about a week or so. So I figure I might as well do one more now. I had a few things I got to catch up on work-wise and filming and all that kind of stuff. So we should be good to go in about another week or so. I've got a backlog of stuff sitting around, and I'm like, it's probably about time I get this stuff done. All right, we've got John. How you doing, man? That Tele seemed very nice, mate. I tell you what, if you're talking about the one from the Keys to the Guitar Shop video, because I play a lot of Telecasters, that 60s one's great. You know, I did a review on that maybe, I don't know, about a year ago, one of those, and it was awesome. At the time, I didn't like it as much as I did the 50s one, but in hindsight now, I think it's pretty great. You know, the 60s dub with the binding and all that sounded great. You know, I was trying not to enjoy it as much as I did, but it's really something special, that thing. It also is roughly the price you would expect it to be as well from a custom shop guitar. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio too, guys, just in case it's spiking or if it's distorted or anything. Just let us know. I'm trying a slightly different rig tonight, so I got a microphone above me here. Hopefully it's working all right. We've got Change Stranger says, hey Shane, now with lockdown coming to an end, hopefully see you at Sky one of these days. I'll probably be there in the next few days, man. I got to get a couple of amps from that shop ASAP. There's one in particular I want to get my hands on. It's the Fender Princeton Chris Stapleton. I played it in that Keys to the Guitar Shop live session thing I posted, and it was awesome. So I want to do a full review of it here. And yeah, if you see me there, man, feel free to say hi. All right, we got I Rock the Blues. Welcome, man. It's my German counterpart over there. Cowtown Customs. Welcome, mate. All right, Chris. Awesome stuff. Bill Marlowe. Hope you're doing well, man. Thanks again for joining in here. This is a bit of a late notice stream. I just thought I'd go live. John, if I didn't say hi before, welcome, mate. All right. Again, if you just joined and you can't type, just... you got to be subscribed now to comment in the live chat. Figure it's probably the way to go. Audio is excellent. Thank you, Jeff. Awesome stuff, mate. I reckon we are good to go then. All right. The Pork Chop says, hey, Shane, question. Given you have amp combos and various mics, what do you use the 2 notes Captor for? So it does two things for me. It allows me to get the sound from the amp to still come out of the speaker at a very reduced rate, so I don't blow my ears out in the room. So you can use it as a power attenuator. It has 3 steps: full blast, 50%, and like I can't remember, but it's like 1% or 3% or something like that of the amp's power. So that allows me to still feel the amp in the room and get my tone. And then what gets recorded is a virtual representation of the speaker in my amplifier and also the microphones that I use. So you're getting like a great sound every time. And yeah, it's very accurate, and I can still hear what my amp's doing in the room and all that kind of stuff. So it's, if you have a lot of valve amps or, you know, tube amps or whatever, it's one of the best tools for that kind of thing. That and like, you know, there's a lot of options like it now, but two Notes were basically the first guys making this kind of technology as an all-in-one. But now you got like the aux box, and I think even Hughes and Kettner make something like that now. But I love it. It works great. You know, all the Kempers and all that are gone. That's the only tool I have left is the Captor X. Good stuff. Sounds good. Awesome stuff. Thanks, mate. One of my favorite strings. So I only play electric guitar now. I don't own an acoustic, which might shock a lot of people, but I don't really enjoy playing it. So I just don't. I've owned acoustics and they just sit in the cupboard way too often, which is a bit of a shame. But for electric guitars now, I play 10 to 46 Diodarios. And that's it. I usually try to buy whatever is the cheapest at the time. So sometimes I'll buy Ernie Ball Super Slinkies, but yeah, these, I just buy these, not sponsored, just, yeah, I buy them in packs of either 10 or I think they have 3 packs of them as well. And I'm a bit of a tight ass with strings. I don't like spending a lot of money on strings. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Back in the day, all I used to buy was web strings, but they don't seal their packs, which means if they sit around for a while, they kind of corrode anyway. So I stopped buying them out of just convenience. I figure the Diodarios, for the extra few bucks, it's worth it. Hi Shane, what speaker do you recommend with the Supersonic 22? It kind of depends on what you like, you know, or what you want in terms of, like, changing speakers is it's more of an impact than changing pickups. So if you want a fatter sound, I would probably go for the Texas Heat. I reckon that's a great match for that amp, and also takes out some of the high end to some extent as well. I always say that Eminence Swamp Thing speakers are great in any Fender amp that I've heard them in. So that would be high on my list as well. If you want a Celestion, just from what I know about speakers, the Creamback would be a good choice in that amp as well. You may find it a little too bassy though, so I always feel like Eminence speakers are probably the best match for Fender combos. I mean, there's plenty of great Jensen speakers in that as well, but just out of the ones that I know and love, the Swamp Thing and the Texas Heat would be two of my favorite. And if you can get your hands on a Red, White and Blues, that would be another one high on the list as well. That one's awesome. Go to guitarspeakerguide.com. That's one of my websites. You can have a look at that. And if anyone else has any suggestions too, go for it. You know, my Supersonic 60 had a Celestion Vintage 30 in there, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It lacked a little bit of low end, and I feel like if you want to sort of fatten that amp up, get something like an Eminence, you can't go wrong. Anthony, thank you, man. He says, nice to meet you. Your playing is incredible. I'm Anthony. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. You know, my good days and my bad days. So thanks when it comes to playing. I tell you, some days it flows and other days I play like crap. So yeah, I'm trying to go for consistency these days. If I can keep my flow there, I'm happy with that these days. That's about it. Thank you. P90 in a Strat bridge position. Never tried that before. I don't know how a Strat would sound with a P90 in pickup. It might sound okay. Don't know. Oh, chat just moved. Sorry, I'm going to scroll back up here. Sonia, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. We've got Dr. Nerd here as well. Awesome stuff. Just picked up a Marshall DSL40. Thanks to you. Sounds great. Oh, Chris, awesome stuff, mate. I hope you enjoy it. I love mine. Mine's best amp. I love it. It's so good. It does the cleans great. The crunch channel is where it's at, 40 watt mode, and the amp just goes. It sounds great. So I hope you enjoy it, man. I love mine. It's probably that and the Supersonic amps, arguably the easiest amp to get a great sound out of without any pedals. You just plug in and it's as good as any pedal board lineup you'll ever hear. Anyone know if it's okay to... okay. I think it's saying... Anyone know if it's okay to use the 8 ohm Captor X with a 4 ohm amp, Fender Twin? So I used to use my Supersonic, my Super Reverb with the old two notes Torpedo Live, and it was fine. So I had the 8 ohm version of that, and the Super Reverb is 4 ohms. It's not good going the other way, but that way is fine. You just lose what would be a bit of headroom, but because it's going into like a load box, it doesn't really matter. Some people might say you'll burn through valves. I used it for years like that. So, yeah, I've had no problems using it in that capacity. Oh, we've got a super chat here. I'll just get to this and then I will get back to everyone's questions. We've got John. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Cheers. He says, "G'day from Lithgow, mate. I use the same strings, DRO46. This is for another set." Oh, thank you, mate. Cheers. I'll next time I'm down the shop, which will be in the next few days, I'll grab some strings. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Thanks for the support, man. I hope you're keeping warm over there. You probably got some decent weather. We got the crazy winds here tonight. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic or not, but the trees out the back are going crazy here. So yeah, hope you're doing well. Thank you again for the support, mate. Appreciate it. Hey, we've got Thrash Metal Studios here. He says, "Good morning, Shane. I couldn't help myself and picked up one of those Dean dime bags, far beyond driven guitars in the burst. I'm pumped because I always wanted one." Oh, that's great, man. I'll have to keep an eye out on your... anytime I'm on YouTube, I get notified when you go live, but I'll keep an eye out for the video, mate. Awesome stuff. Congrats on the new guitar. That's super cool. Let me scroll down here. Hey man, any suggestions for relatively cheap lefty basses? Yes. So I have a couple of suggestions. An Ibanez sound gear is what I've got back here. This is one of the basses I use on a lot of my videos. I got this used for like 150 bucks. It's awesome. Like I still had the plastic on it. It was hardly used. It's got active pickups, but you can also run them without the active circuit. It's nice and light, and if you're coming from guitar, it's nice and comfortable in the hand. I've also got a Harley Benton jazz style bass as well, but it's heavy, but it sounds unreal. So yeah, Harley Benton, or try and find yourself an Ibanez sound gear. That's what the headstock looks like. You might not love the look of this, but it's light, it's comfortable. It's just it's a beautiful guitar to play, especially for the price. And if you're playing through an average amp, it'll actually sound pretty good. So yeah, I can highly recommend the Ibanez stuff. I've had I've had two Ibanez basses over the years. They've been both great. I kind of don't care much about strings until I use PRS strings. Okay, I don't think I've tried them other than the whatever strings were on mine when I bought the guitar. I didn't really think to check. Do you have a red Strat for sale like David Gilmour's with EMGs? Nah, I don't own a red Strat at all. So my only Strat is the white 50s American original one, which I use on the videos. Christian says, "Smash that like button, fellow guitar nerds." Thanks, man. Cheers. Greta, we got, he says, hello, welcome. Have I heard of Green Guitars from Sweden? No, I haven't. That's from Gustav? No, Green Guitars, hey? Let me have a quick look here. Oh, they are literally green, are they? Oh, hang on. It's just going to show me pictures of Green Guitars. That's how that's going to work. I'm going to have to look that up later, man. But, yeah, no, the quick answer is no. I've not heard of them before. But I know there's a couple of really nice guitars made in that part of the world, so that would be cool to check out. Michael says, "Hi Shane, do you think Peavey need to update the Bandit as the last revision was done in 2008, 13 years ago?" Yes, it'd be great if they could make it sound as good as their older ones did. Nah, look, they're alright still. They've gone into more of like a metal sort of amp. They were always a higher gain player's amp to some extent, from sort of like the 90s onwards. The Red Stripe one had great clean tones, man, and that vintage clean channel, it just sounded better, and I really hope they can nail that sound again on the clean. It's gotten kind of clacky over the years, but their high gain tones have improved if you're into that. So yeah, it'd be cool to see what they can come up with. I just hope they don't fill it full of stuff no one needs. Like, keep it as an amp you can just plug into, no USB ports, none of that. Just a simple amp that delivers, because they're great amps. What do you think? Oh, sorry, the second part of that was, what do you think Peavey has done with the pure solid state designs? As Hartley, Peavey's no longer running the company. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't realize he was out. Okay, so Yeah, I don't really know, man. I haven't really thought about it. Peavey, I think, went off everybody's radar a couple of years back. Just, you don't see their amps in the shops as much anymore. People kind of, I think, were rubbed the wrong way by Peavey from the undercover boss thing or whatever, and then they fired everybody. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to sort of speculate on that. I think if they're going to be making amps only to a budget, they'll probably do more of the digital modeling amps. They'll outsource it to China or wherever they're getting made, and they won't really do anything with it other than distribute them. So I don't know what it's like in other areas around the world, but in Australia, at least in where I've been lately, I haven't seen Peavey amps anywhere other than a few of the used shops. So yeah, if you can find a used one of those anywhere, as I say, probably best to save yourself 60% and do that. Cheap lefty basses. Look at Artist Guitars and SX. There we go. Cool. That's from John. You know, I haven't actually tried any of their bass guitars of SX or Artist Guitars. So, yeah, that might be interesting to try that at some point. I'll see what I can do. Let me scroll down. Hey Shane, have you witnessed or been a part of any live show disasters? Any stories? A good one. Man, I've had some weird stuff happen on stage, but So I was televised once, right, on a live gig, and it was a pretty big show, like in consideration of the other gigs that I did around Melbourne here. And I decided I'd try a new song. And the cameras came out, said, yeah, record the new songs. New song's great. And I'm so glad they edited out like more than half of the song, because I couldn't, as soon as we started playing, I could not think of how the song started. So I ended up launching midway into the second verse at the start of the song, and I was screwed. It was all bad from there. But the guitar playing was all right, but that was probably one of the worst moments playing live, like just complete mental block. Plus sometimes when you play and sing and you write your own songs, it takes a while for it all to come together, like the coordination of, you know, singing and then playing, but also remembering all the words without a book. And I was younger then. I don't need a book, I'll be right. I never had anything like that happen. So that was I've still got that on my hard drive somewhere. It's pretty embarrassing. Maybe I'll dig it up sometime and do a react video. Oh, we've got another super chat here. Hey, thank you, Jeff. Getting in early in case I'm not off. Hey, thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Cheers. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's going to be a short stream tonight. I thought I'd just jump on for an hour or so, but I appreciate that, mate. Thank you for all the support. Cheers. Thanks. Let me scroll back up. All right, sorry. I'm just trying to go back to where we are. Hey, Cheddar Kung Pao, welcome, man. Happy Tuesday, Shane, everybody in the chat. Thanks, man. Hope you're doing well. Albie says, I'm wondering if you're going to do a review of any of the EVH amps. Also, I wanted to say I appreciate when you mentioned the weight of a guitar in the reviews. Getting old and it's being important, and it's becoming important. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And yeah, it was something that I saw come up in the comments a lot. Like, how heavy is it? It's like, oh yeah, that's a thing, right? Like, I didn't realize people thought about that stuff. This is going back like, 8 years ago. I didn't really ever mention that sort of stuff. And then I think over the last sort of 5 years in particular, I'm like, this is it average? Is it overly heavy? Is it whatever? So I usually mention it, especially if something stands out, like if it's lighter than I expect or if it's way heavier than anything else I own. They're the times I'll mention it the most. But yeah, it's sort of like, it's something that I always try to mention anyway. And in terms of the, sorry, what were the amps you said? The EVH amps. The only one I've had my hands on is the one that was in the Keys to the Guitar Shop series with Rick. He was playing through that EVH 2x12. Thing's way too heavy, man. I can't lift it on my own into the car. There's not a chance. So I don't even know if it'll fit in my car, man. So I'd assume it's probably not going to happen in the next, for the next while anyway. Unless Sky Music somehow managed to get smaller ones that are lighter, I doubt I'll be taking that big amp back to the house here. Let me scroll down. Have you heard Sob Rock, the new John Mayer album? I didn't love it. I've only heard a couple of the tracks that were released. I think he dumped all of them on his YouTube channel. I didn't go through it, to be honest. I liked his little 80s style commercial for it. I thought that was kind of pretty funny. I think he's got a good sense of humor, that dude. But no is the short answer. I just haven't listened to it yet. I've been on a James Brown tear again recently, where I'm listening to a lot of James Brown. Man, it's so good. I don't care what kind of music you listen to mostly. You go listen to some James Brown, makes you smile. It's so good. Andy Brown says, have you ever tried an Ultra, Strat, or Tele? No, I haven't. I don't think I've seen a lefty anywhere, actually. I'm looking for a cheap multi-mod pedal. Are there any that don't suck? Multi-modulation pedals. Multi-modulation pedals. Look, the only thing that comes to mind is like those processor pedals, right? Because they've got everything in there and they sound pretty good. But I don't know if I've tested one recently that I can think of that's like just a modulation pedal with lots of other effects other than those processor pedals. If you're looking for like an analog style thing, I can't think of any. I think you'd be better off picking a sound and just getting a good pedal rather than getting something that does everything kind of okay. If it comes to like an all-in-one box, I would say probably Boss will make something like that and that'll be okay. But I don't love their tremolo. I think their tremolo is a little on the weak side. It's nice and clean, the signal, but you play a good tremolo pedal that has the wave go up and above and below the actual volume of your signal, and you'll never want to play a Boss tremolo pedal again. It's just the way it is, right? There's so many great individual pedals out there. I would say just buy a pedal based on the sound that you want. I don't think you'll go too far wrong. Old man Tipper says, hey Shane, I just had a Harley Benton SC550 Paradise Les Paul delivered. Cool stuff, man. Great guitar, but freight was $180. Well, you can consider where it's coming from, man. I don't think... Yeah, it is expensive, but those boxes are huge, right? Like, they're like 3 times as big as a guitar case kind of box they come in. At least that's what mine came in. So that's a pretty big box, and it's a long way from wherever they're coming from. So I know the shipping is brutal, but you know, if you love the guitar, man, it's worth it. So yeah. Addy says, compare an over-the-counter Fender Stratocaster to an Ibanez Gem Junior. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I've got any lefty Ibanez guitars that I can access at the moment. I think they've got the shop that I borrow a lot of the stuff from at Sky Music. I think they've got an arch top possibly, but I know that's not what you're asking for. But I did review a lefty made in Japan Ibanez, and the thing was beautiful, so good. So yeah, I'll see what I can find. It's been a while since I've been back to the store, so maybe they got some new stuff. I'll see what I can do. Where would you put Big Muff in relation to a compressor on your board? Well, there's really no right or wrong with that. You can have your compressor before or after any type of drive pedal. Just experiment around and see what works for you. Yeah, there really isn't any right or wrong. I used to always have my modulation pedals after my drives, but now I have them before. It just depends on what pedal it is. So don't worry about order so much. Just as long as you've got your tuner on your board, it doesn't really matter so much about your other pedal orders as much as you think it probably does. Other than delays and reverbs, I would put them last. But everything else in terms of boosts and compression doesn't really matter. Because basically the reason why it doesn't matter is because you'll get different results, right? If I ran a volume boost after an overdrive pedal, I would take that overdrive sound and make it louder. If I have it before the overdrive, I'm going to get a more compressed overdrive sound without the volume boost, or without as prominent of a volume boost. So yeah, just experiment around, man. I don't think there's really any right or wrong with that. right, let me... All right. Hey, T-Ball's here. Welcome, man. It was part of our 14 guitar play video we did last year. Thanks, man. He says, loving the vids. Have you ever come across a humbucker stock or aftermarket that actually sounded good when split? There's one, and it's on the PRS. I think they're called the DGTs. So get the credit card out for that one, mate. That my friend's got a gold sort of PRS DGT, I think it is. And the thing actually sounds great, split coil. That's the only one that I've gone, wow, that actually sounds legit. And we compared it to another guitar. The quick answer is, for everything else, no. That's probably the only guitar I would say, or the only tone of that sort of split coil thing that sounds great. So whatever they put in the PRS DGT, if you can find that information out, you should be good. Hope you're doing well too, man. Sonia says, please hit the thumbs up. Thanks, mate. Thank you, Sonia. Different amps can tolerate different mismatches when it comes to speakers. I got a Sir Hombre and it's 8 ohms, but it can operate a 4 or 16 ohm, no problems. You're right. And also my Marshall is like that. It's got, well, it's actually got three... it's got 3 outputs on the back, something like that. So you can go 8 out or 2 16s. It's got all the outputs on the back. So, yeah. As long as you're not going the other way. So if your amp's 8 ohm and you put a 16 ohm speaker in there, that's... Hang on, let me get that right. Yeah, so the opposite way of what I said before. So if your 2 notes is, say, 8 ohms, but your amp is 4, then you're okay. You just don't want to sort of go the opposite way with that. It might be okay, but I wouldn't recommend it. Hey, thanks for the super chat. Addy, appreciate that. Thank you. Is that Liberte? Is that how you say that? I don't know that place. Far out. Thank you. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. And if anyone else has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments here. And I'm on my way down, and then I'll scroll back up, and then I'll come back down. I'm not sure how to say your name. Is it Grabul? Says, hi Shane, just wanted to stop by and tell you I enjoyed your review of the Epiphone SG Standard quite a lot. It convinced me into buying the 61 version. Awesome stuff. Kind regards from France. Well, I hope you like it. It is great. So yeah, I don't recommend crap to people. I'd rather people know what they're buying, and that's a great guitar. The Epiphones, man, they're making awesome stuff. So yeah, congrats. Good stuff. Right, Poo Ninja's here. Welcome, man. If I didn't say hi before, maybe I did. Sorry. I lose track of that stuff. Jan says, hi Shane, I finally found the P90 guitar for a reasonable price. The Yamaha Revstar RS502T. Any thoughts on these guitars? Thanks again for the amazing channel. Greetings from Prague. Ooh, sounds like a fancy place to be. It sounds good. So Yamaha make great guitars. Those Revstars are awesome. They don't make left-handed guitars, so I've only seen other people in my friend circle play them, and I think they're great. But I haven't actually owned one or played a lefty ever because I can't. But all of the ones I picked up are pretty cool. They're pretty cool. So. Great guitar, yeah. I don't have any... I think, you know, Yamaha have been making great stuff, acoustics and electrics forever. So, yeah. Awesome. All right, let me scroll down here. Just grab a quick drink. Code Silver says, cool, do you think $400 AUD is a reasonable price for the Ibanez? If it's new and you're talking about that bass guitar, just put context into the questions if you ask me something like that, because I forget quickly who I was talking to. If you're talking about the Sound Gear bass, that's about right for a new one. On the second-hand market, you can get them for like $150. I paid that for mine, so keep an eye on Gumtree or eBay and see if you can get yourself a bargain. Because a lot of people pick up instruments and don't play them. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few floating around now. Looking for a cheap silent boost to put in my effects loop as a volume boost. Any recommendations? Not sure what you mean by silent boost. Do you mean one that just doesn't click when you push a button? Is that what you mean by that? I'm not too sure. I don't really like putting volume pedals in the effects loop. You should just turn your amp up more and use your volume control on your guitar. That can do really weird things. Sometimes if it's set wrong, you can blow your ears. I used to have one of my supersonic amps had a thing that you could bypass the master volume, and man, it was brutal. If you didn't set it right, you'd fry your ears. So any volume pedal will probably give you it'll give you what you're looking for. You want to basically set a secondary sort of volume, but I don't know, man. It's not not something that I would probably do personally. So I'm not too sure what you mean by silent boost. So yeah, just let us know what you mean by that. Raphael says, "Hey Shane, what do you think of the Layla and other assorted love songs by Derek and the Dominoes?" Great album. Yeah, I've actually got the collector's set of that, which is like all the stuff that didn't make it onto the album, all the other big extended jams. I think it's a 4 CD pack. It's in this big sort of, almost looks like a record sized box, but it's about this thick. You take the lid off and there's all these cool CD, extra CDs and pamphlets and all that kind of stuff in there. So yeah, great album. Oh, is my stream working still? Looks like we're working. All right, sorry. I think it might have glitched. I always think that new strings sound the best, so better to buy cheap strings and change them more often rather than buying expensive strings that last forever. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think it feels good to play new strings as well, but since I'm not gigging like I used to, where I was playing a lot more, I only change them when I can notice they're really quite crusty now. And I tell you what, I use a lot of, you've probably seen this in videos for like the last 10 years or more. I love this stuff. I just buy this by the canful. By the box full, I should say, because it is a can. But yeah, I've got heaps of this stuff. And that seems to help, at least with me, because I think my fingers get quite sweaty. I reckon that stuff kind of makes the strings last a little bit longer. And when they feel crap and I still spray the guitar, I can get away with it until something breaks. As a single dad with 2 kids and 13 guitars, do you agree that I need to get a 335 style guitar to lose the 13 bad luck number? Mate, I don't know. Look, I used to love 335s, and over the years I've kind of gone off playing them. I think it's up to you, man. Is it going to do something that the other guitars aren't? And is it going to inspire you to play and to pick it up? Getting it just because you don't have one doesn't always mean it's going to be replacing anything or better than what you've already got, unless you buy something you absolutely love playing and you love the sound of it. I kind of find, you got to really, unlike Les Pauls, for example, that are all pretty consistent now when it comes to tone, and it doesn't matter what brand it is. I reckon 335s are almost the opposite. Finding a great one is pretty tough because sometimes they sound too muddy or they feed back too much or whatever. So you got to really find one that you love. And if you do buy one, get one that you're going to stick with for a while, because there's a lot of really average ones out there. My suggestion is, if you already got a Les Paul, take it down and play it up against whatever 335 that you're thinking of buying, because you might go, man, my guitar kills this. Don't buy a 335 that has like a dull overtone to it. There's so many of those out there. Find one that has chirp on the pickups. You want one that you can really dig in and it snaps, instead of just getting sort of dark and muddy sounding. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. You go away, sell a guitar, and then it'll take you to a happy number. I know I'm a bit behind the chat here, so I'm just going to come down a little further. Oh, wow. All right, I'm really slow here. Sorry. Hi, Shane. Would you recommend a Marshall DSL40 or 40 for home use only? I think the 20 doesn't have the ultra gains. I play heavy rock and would the 40 be a better option. So the cool thing about the 40, you can switch it to 20 watts, and you also get 2 more channels. You get 2 crunch channels, which is the best part of that amp. The ultra gain is good if you really want that high gain sound, and that is on the 20. So the 20 has the clean and the ultra gain. The 40 that you can switch to 20 watts has the clean, 2 crunches, and the ultra gain built into it. But the benefit of the 20 is you can switch it down to 10, which is better for home use, because 20 watts at home is pretty loud. I got a video coming up on the DSL5, and that is awesome. I recommend checking that out too. Where in the Blues Deluxe Western Noir reissue do I put the speaker cable coming out of the Behringer? Where in the Blues Deluxe do I put the speaker cable coming out of the Behringer? So make sure your Blues Deluxe is off. It's on the bottom right hand side. So if you're looking over the amp, say it's facing this way, there's a speaker jack that comes, there's 2 of them actually that come out of the back of the amplifier. There's one that's the extension cable, one on the far right, and the one on the far right's extension cable socket, and the one on the left of that, like this way, right on the right hand side, is the regular speaker connector for the cab. So there's 2, you can run that into 2 speakers basically. So that's where that would go. But make sure you have it hooked up before you do anything. And don't turn your Blues Deluxe on without a speaker in the signal channel, you'll fry it. Hey, we've got Jamal here. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Krena says the DGT is my dream PRS. Oh, yeah, great guitars, man. I wish Sky Music existed in Europe. They seem to carry a lot of lefty guitars. Yeah, they got like usually around 40 at any one time. Sometimes a little less, sometimes 60. So it's pretty cool. I think I've almost gone through all of the current ones. I know they're getting some custom shop lefties in pretty soon, and also some Reverends in the lefty, which will be cool. So they'll be coming up at some point. Europe's got lots of great guitar shops. There's Woodstock Guitars. Oh, that's more Copenhagen, but I guess Scandinavia. But yeah, there's Germany, man. Germany's got lots of great guitar shops as well. Have I ever tried any of the Charvel Pro mods? No, I haven't. I haven't tried any Charvel guitars. I can actually get my hands on one of those coming up, a lefty, so I'll see what I can do. Jules says, greetings from the EU. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thanks for the support. Cheers. Your video saved me $1,000 plus on an Epiphone casino. I owe you, mate. Hey, thanks. You know, like I know some people took that video the wrong way. I try to give people information like they've just started playing guitar a lot of the time. So, you know, when people go, oh, it's a archtop guitar, of course it's going to feedback. Yeah, but not everyone knows that, right? And there's so many people that play sort of like modified versions of those that they might be able to do better with higher. It's not even a gain thing, right? It's a volume. If you're too loud, the guitar and amp will cause feedback. So yeah, I found it completely unusable. Everyone's like, oh, you should buy it and change the pickups. I'm like, why would I do that? That's so beautiful looking guitars. And if you just play clean at low volumes at home, then you're going to be fine. But if you, yeah, I wanted one of those guitars for like 15 years or more, right? And I was devastated that I didn't enjoy it. The neck's too thin, the switch is in a crap spot, the feedback was uncontrolled, just terrible in my opinion. It's like completely unusable. I would take like the cheapest Squire I could get over that, and I'd have a more functional guitar to gig. Yeah, just it's a real shock. I recently discovered the Dunlop, is it Ultex or Sharp 2.0? Okay, cool picks. We've got Eric from upstate New York, welcome. Quicksilver, how you doing? Got Andrew, he says, hi Shane, welcome. Pepsi, Karena's getting a Pepsi Max. Good move, man. Enjoy. That looks like a Kalen snakebite pedal in the background. Which one? This one? Or this one? That's That's a straight flush from VS Audio, and this is the next of the... let's put this back on autofocus for a sec. This is the Peacock limited edition pedal, which I haven't tried yet. So, yeah, I haven't tried this one yet, but I'll plug it in the next few days. Quinton says, "Hi sir, I saw your review on the SX VTG Strat. I want to buy one, but they are rare in South Africa." Okay, wow. I think there's certain brands that are probably hard to get everywhere. Like, I know in Australia we can easily get made in Japan guitars, especially the copies of a lot of the Gibsons, like the Tokais and the Bernies and Orvilles and all that. They're everywhere. But in some parts of the world, they're impossible to get. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, some guitars over there would be hard to get as well. There's alternatives you can buy. I think there's not a huge difference between, like, the SX ones, the Harley Bentons, and the Squier Classic Vibes. They're all kind of around the same quality and performance ratio kind of thing. So, yeah, have a look for those as well. Zark says, any upcoming guitars or amps that you're excited for? There is one video I'm dying to shoot here at the house, and I'm going to probably pick that amp up in the next few days, and that is the Fender Chris Stapleton amp. I played it at the shop a couple of weeks back. It's awesome. The other one that Jamal keeps asking if I can get my hands on it is the Fender Pro... what's it called? The Pro... what's it called, Jamal? There's a... I've forgotten the name of it anyway. It's a single 12-inch combo. It's awesome, but I haven't seen it anywhere yet. So that's another one that I'm looking forward to. But that's it. I'm not really that pumped to play. Look, I'm always open to playing new guitars, and I love trying them out. But actually, I'll tell you what, Artist Guitars are getting a couple of new lefties in. And I'm pretty keen to try them out, given that I've seen what they look like. And they're a lefty as well. They come in lefty, so I'm keen to check them out. But... yeah, I don't really keep up to date with, like, all the new stuff that's coming out. I try to just to see stuff as it appears to me rather than, like, get too hyped for something. I've been let down way too many times with gear thinking, oh, this is going to be so much better, and it's not. So I like to just sort of see how we go. So, yeah, that's about it in terms of what I'm looking forward to. Mostly amps for me these days. I'm more interested in what an amp can do over, you know, getting another guitar, because... you know, it starts here and it ends there. So these are the two most important things. Code Silver, thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate that. Any word on the new lefty Epiphones available in your area? So, as of tomorrow, we're allowed out again. So, yeah, I'm gonna see what I can find at the store, and if I can, I'll be shooting some new videos whenever they show up, those guitars. But I haven't seen them yet. Loving how you timestamp these live chats, mate. Thank you. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but it's well worth doing. It makes it far easier for people to see what at least is going on. No one's going to sit there and watch for 3 hours without, or an hour even, without timestamps. It's just, I try and timestamp every video on the channel. It doesn't matter if it's a video of the pedal, for example, like that one that went live yesterday. The jam tracks timestamped, the disclosures timestamped, the overview of it, the isolated tones, and then, you know, I also do the outro or my thoughts about whatever it is I'm reviewing. So yeah, that's kind of how it's just way more convenient, because some people don't want to hear any of the talking. I get that, so I just go click and click ahead, and you can timestamp all over the place. And thank you, appreciate it. During the last lockdown, I had to buy a Fender Strat from New South Wales. Crazy times, wow. Yeah, that's... you know, I've never bought a guitar. Have I ever done that? Bought a guitar online without at least playing it first? I don't know. Not an expensive one anyway. I probably may have done it for less expensive guitars. I'm trying to think if that's something I've done. I don't think so. So yeah, you're a brave man. I would only do that if I could have an absolute chance to return it, you know, like if I didn't love it. because you place, again, you don't know what you're buying half the time, or if it's new when it shows up, or if it's all that kind of stuff. Hey Chopper, he says, welcome mate. He says, lots of great gear for sale in Oz on the Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, there's heaps of cool stuff on there. I don't really have a Facebook account anymore. I've still got my page, but I haven't been on Facebook for probably 3 years now. In a personal capacity, I don't miss it at all. But Dr. Rick, as you mentioned, he's always on about how much great stuff there is on there. So the marketplace was cool. That's one of the small things you got to sacrifice when you get off it. But I don't need any more gear, so I'm good. Finger ease is a lifesaver. That's awesome. Christian says that's my deodorant. Tone spray. Jay says, what's your opinion? What, in your opinion, is the best 3 amps, either tube or solid state, under 1500, 1000, and 500? So $500, roughly around there or less. The Artist Tweetone, the best. It's unreal. It's a Blues Junior killer. I put it side by side. I would take it over a Vox. I would take it over a Fender amp, of equivalent size. Maybe with the exception of like the 12-inch speaker versions of the Princetons, for example. They're like $3,300 or something, right? So for that price, there's nothing better than that. For under $1,000, that's sort of like a weird price point because you can't get much for under $1,000. You'd almost be talking about, like, I would almost say you could save yourself a lot of money and still get a used Peavey Bandit and get a great tone. That would be an amp I still think is great for getting a really great tone. Look, I don't know how much the Marshall DSL40s are in your part of the world, but they're great. Like, the clean channels are unreal. And you don't need pedals with it, or it works great with pedals. So that's another one I would recommend as well. I think a Hot Rod Deluxe is a hard amp to really say no to, given how great they sound versus what you get out of them. They're just a really reliable, or a Blues Deluxe, right? Any of those. But a Hot Rod Deluxe is probably the most versatile and most pleasing to most people's ear. And you get a good speaker in them these days as well. You don't have to do that upgrade. So they'd probably be the 3 that I would sort of recommend around that price. A Vox AC10's cool if you love the Vox sound, but I still think the Tweetone eats it alive. How do I feel about the Bass Breaker 15? Eric, yeah, great amp. Yeah, that's one I totally slipped my mind just now. So that's a great amplifier. I think that one in particular, and the 30R, I think it's called. Those two are awesome. Hey, my urban exploration. Thank you, mate. He says, hey, I'm in Adelaide. The Overlords will let us out tomorrow too. Up yours, Al Coffee McCoff. Yeah, there you go. Hey, thanks for that, mate. And congrats as well. You're allowed out. It's there's a lot of people that haven't been able to work, and it's frustrating. It totally sucks. But yeah, I hope you're doing well, and thanks for the support there, mate. I'm going to go back to training tomorrow for the first time in a few weeks, and I'm going to go as light as I can, just to get the feeling of exercise back for the first 2 weeks again. I just got back to my personal bests on all the exercises that I do, and then we get a lockdown, and it's like, go back. You're not going back to square one, but you're going back. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting going back tomorrow. See if I can walk and move. Oh, hey, thank you, Mark Anthony. I appreciate that. He's used the super chat. He says, with all the gear you've tested, which 3 things really changed your first thoughts in a positive way? So opposite to what happened with the 335. So I've tested a whole lot of stuff that completely surprised me, if that's what you're asking me. So I had no expectations of Harley Benton guitars, like none at all. And if John's here too, he knows I wasn't a fan of SX guitars. I used to see them in like the bargain basement, like second-hand shops. They're always like $80 missing strings. And I always thought they were junk. And then I picked them up. I was like, these are awesome. Like, because sometimes you see something that's like especially if you go to like a used shop, there's a lot of cash converters here and all that kind of stuff. I think you got them in Europe as well, but it's the only place I would see SX guitars. And then I saw new ones and I was like, oh, okay, these are actually really great. And I ended up buying a few of them. Those were awesome. I'm just trying to think of, another amp that I think really surprised Rick and I was the Eddie Van Halen, what is it, the 5150 2x12, the big white amp that was in a couple of the Keys to the Guitar Shop videos. That thing was awesome. Like, I was shocked we could get a tone out of it that actually sounded great for what we play. Really, really surprising amplifier. Way too heavy. Like, you couldn't lift the thing out anywhere, right? But it was a really great experience, sort of going, oh, wow, this is the real deal. And I think, so hang on, what else would there be? You know what? Something I tried recently. I tried this thing called the Joyo Momix. It's an audio interface for your phone. So you can like just plug it into the bottom of your phone and then mix like 5 or 6 different signals in, and then take that audio and mix it on the fly and then stream that out to the web or record straight into your phone. I'm not much of a phone guy when it comes to music. I prefer to use amps, but to be able to record without needing anything else, it's a pretty cool unit. So I would say that I actually got a call from Artist Guitars. They said, what do you think of that thing? And I said, I had no idea the Momix was going to be any good. I said, I thought this was going to be a waste of my time and I'd send it back. I'm brutal. I just tell people what I think of stuff. And I said, mate, this thing's great. Like, if I travel, it's going to be my audio interface. I can get great audio straight into my phone without needing like one of those old box things that's sitting on my desk here. So yeah, that would be the 3 things. And thank you, Mark. I appreciate your support, mate. Thank you. And also, thank you, my Urban Exploration as well. Cheers, if I didn't say thanks again. Artist is a legit company. They're great. Yeah, I mean, they sell more guitars in Australia than anyone. So they're doing something right. I can't remember their numbers, but I read it somewhere, like the number 1 selling company on eBay for instruments as well as online. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. They sell like 80 guitars a day or something. It's crazy. Hey Shane, know your preferences. Good enough to know if I like it. Like it if you say the neck is too thin. I'll probably love it, etc, etc. Thanks, Keith. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, I just let people know what the neck profiles are like, because it used to be a complete deal breaker for me if the neck wasn't big enough. I got pretty large hands, so I hated thin necks. I hated modern C necks on Fender Strats in particular, but some thinner necks in the hand feel great. It just depends on everything else, right? So yeah, another thing I try to mention in the video so no one gets the wrong idea. Jonathan Bailey says, hey Shane, love the channel. I remember you did some reviews of the Joyo Iron Man pedals. Did you try the pipe bomb compressor? Excuse me, and was it any good? So last week, I think it was, I just released a new video with 8 of those pedals all in one, and I tried the compressor pedal. I think pretty much every compressor I've tested are pretty similar to each other. There's only a couple that stand out as being better than everything else, but I would have no hesitations recommending that compressor to anyone. I think it works great. So for what you're buying in terms of its price and its package and all that, it's great. So yeah, I think it was last week I did 18, what was it? No, it was 8 pedals in, or 9 pedals in 18 minutes or something like that. Just, if you click on my channel and just go back a week or two, you'll see the video. It's great. There's a lot of those pedals are pretty good in that range, actually, so yeah. Oh, hang on. So the cable coming out of the Behringer PS1 power sock goes into the input where the original speaker cable. So anytime you run an attenuator of any type, the signal has to go to a speaker. if it's that kind of attenuator. Otherwise, it goes out of the attenuation device into a sound card. But if you want to get, so your amp, most attenuation devices take the load of the amp as well, right? And if you just make sure whatever, I don't know the Behringer one, but I'm tipping that you can take the speaker out of your amp, plug in a cable, go into the power attenuation speaker or load input, and then out of that there'll be a speaker output back to your speaker. That's all it is you need 2 cables. And if you've got a combo, it can be a pain in the ass because you need to get either a female to female TRS jack. I'll tell you what, go watch my 2 Notes Torpedo review, and I show an item in there that you need to get it all hooked up. It's this dual TRS thing. Actually, it's right here. Yeah, let me just focus on this. Here we go. It's one of the. Oh, what's that? I got a bloody moth on my hand from the caught in the cobwebs. Sorry about that. It scared the crap out of me. So, hang on, let's get this right. See this? You'll most likely need one of these to make your life easy. It's like a dual TRS jack. It's by Hoser. Not sponsored. I bought this from DJ City here. And yeah, so that'll probably get you out of the pinch you might be in. But have a look at my Captor X review. It kind of goes over how it works and why you need this, because you do need 2 cables. How long have we been going? Alright, I'll go for a few more minutes here. What do I think of the Gibson Les Paul Jr. DC Tribute? I know you've reviewed one before. Do I still rate them? Yeah, it's good. There's a couple that I've tried, actually. The double cut was the... Yeah, these are cool. You know, I think visually I like the single cut ones a little more, just for whatever reason, but these are awesome guitars, and for the price, they sound pretty good, but you're literally getting a 1 pickup guitar, and if you can live with that, then you're good to go. I think you can get a lot of good tones out of a single P90 pickup with a tone control. You can sort of get a fake neck pickup sound by rolling it to about 3/4 of the way on. So yeah, that was back in 2019. Far out. It feels like it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, it was. So yeah, great guitar. I have no problems, recommending that series of guitars. I also played one of their Les Paul Studios recently. Just very simple guitar. It doesn't have all the fancy finish. Things sounded great. So yeah, if you like it, go for it, man. I think you really, if you can't live without the fancy finish, then I'd give it a miss. But I think they feel great. So yeah, but make sure you like it too. I didn't buy one, but I like it. I don't buy everything I get to borrow. Otherwise, I'd be way too broke. Jonathan says, oh, sorry, I already read that one. So friends, I've got to go. Thanks. I'm not sure how to say your name, but rock on. Have a good night. Have a good night. Have you tried the Pyle PD mic 78? I reviewed one of their microphones a while back, and that was it. The PD mic 78. I've got it, and I still own it. It's a SM57 clone that works well. So, yeah, just if you literally Google that, my video is the first thing that comes up in the Google search results. It's $14. I bought it off Amazon like in 2018 when they still used to ship to Australia. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good mic. So I don't know if I've used it a lot since then, but it still is in my cupboard somewhere. So John says, I meant to ask you, did you get to the artist showroom on your Sydney trip? I didn't get to go there, unfortunately, mate. I looked it up, and it was way too far from where I was without a car and not really knowing how to get around. So maybe next time. I've got one more Guitar Search Saturdays coming up that I need to put together. It's still sitting there, so I'll probably try and get that done. Probably in the next week or two, I should have that ready to go. But no, but I plan on still getting there at some point. That would be cool to see. Actually, be great to meet the guys too. They've all been really, really cool. I should do a face-off with the Behringer. The Behringer mics are great, man. Those are really something special for the price. They feel, the Behringer ones feel a bit more premium in the hand. They got a nicer sort of feel to them. So Behringer make good stuff. You know, maybe 15 years ago they got a hard time with things, but I have no problems with their gear. Some of their stuff I've had for like 20 years, man. Like a DI box or yeah, I've got, you know, they used to make heaps of condenser microphones. I think I've still got a set of those C2s or B2s or something, the matched set. So really cool. Mark Anthony says, thanks man, we appreciate you sharing the knowledge. Hey, no worries. It's just nerdy stuff that I've been able to try and buy and sell and swap and borrow and all kinds of stuff. So happy to help out. I know not everyone, you know, is in a position where they can either go out and borrow things to try or whatever. I'm just kind of fortunate with that now. So I know that's why I do the live streams. It helps everybody. All right. Hey, thank you, Bill. Far out, man. Shane, thanks for the great channel. Keep up the great work. To the Blues community is the best. Off to work. Take care, everybody. Hey, thank you, Bill. Thanks again for the super chat, mate. And again, yeah, you're on the Patreon crew, mate. I appreciate your support, but you don't have to. Thank you, mate. Hope you're having a good day, and yeah, rock on. Awesome stuff, mate. I'm gonna have to send you something again coming up. Rick and I will get something out to you. Thank you. Fat Philosopher, thank you, mate. He says, in the blues, I know you like the custom Kiesel. What custom guitar maker would you like to try next? Ooh, interesting. Wow, that's a good question. I don't really know. It's the quick answer. I've sort of. Wow, yeah, I don't really know, man. Like I've tried a couple of custom guitar builds over the years, the ones that I haven't been able to obviously keep, just testing, and I don't know. I'm not too sure. Like, give me some names of some companies. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, you know, when you get a custom guitar, they're pretty cool. They are pretty cool, but they're also very unique, and that means that they sort of have their own kind of thing going on that's very different to, you know, production guitars, and not everyone else will like that, but I couldn't care less about that. Thanks again, Bill. I appreciate it, mate. Thank you. I'm having some of this weird clear liquid again. One more guitar says, hey, in the blues, I found a left-handed cigar box in town. I'd love to send it to you so I can try one. Thanks, man. Don't know the logistics, but if you're interested, I'll figure it out. Hey, thanks, mate. Look, I try not to borrow or have stuff sent out from folks that, you know, are part of the community here, because if something goes wrong, like I'll either really feel really bad about it, or I end up covering, you know, if it breaks or goes missing, like I feel kind of liable for that too. So I appreciate that, mate. But yeah, I don't often do loans like that. I prefer not to. You know, if the worst thing, like I've had a guitar go missing last year. Was it last year or this year? It was this year. It got lost from the courier company. It just got lost. No one knew where it went. No one had any idea. I would hate that to happen, right? So thank you. I do appreciate it. I get a lot of offers saying, hey, can I send you my guitar for a review? And I'm like, oh man, it'd be cool, but I kind of don't like doing that, just in case on the off chance something goes wrong. You never know, right? My house could get broken into or something. So I just would hate to have that happen when someone else's stuff is getting, you know, taken. It would be brutal. Hey, we've got VS Audio here as well, have we? Thanks. Awesome stuff. Thanks for dropping in. I got the straight flush up here. I'm going to attempt to do another video coming up of that. I'm not sure how to say your name, man, but RL says, I just blew $1,000 on pedals at Sky Music, one of which is a Metal Zone. Do you think it will sound good in a Vox? Well, the Metal Zone has a very unique sort of sound to it. I did a bit of a joke review about one of them a while back when I wore this black curly head wig thing. But yeah, look, I think they're highly... If you're into high gain stuff, you're going to get the sound that you want. There's a great video from some touring professional who says, why do people hate the Metal Zone? And he plays it live and it sounds unreal for that kind of music, right? So if that's what you're looking for, that's the sound it will give you. And the cool thing about a Metal Zone, which kind of goes under the radar, is you can kind of dial in a lot of mids out of it as well. There's certain settings that really enhance the mid frequencies almost as much as a Tube Screamer can. And in my opinion and experience owning 2 Vox amplifiers, they're really heavily mid-scooped, so odds are that'll be a good match for it, for that kind of sound. Again, I'm not a metal player, but I know that Vox amps really respond well with mid-heavy pedals or something that boosts in that missing frequency. So I would say that would be a good mix. Hey, we've got NJ here as well. Welcome, man. Sorry if I didn't say hi before. I'm just getting down the chat here. Behringer says, throw some thumbs up, folks. Careful at the gym, Shane. All those machines are designed to break you. Yeah, stay off the machines, man. Oh, actually, I shouldn't say that. I do use them a bit, but yeah. Nah, I don't go too hard. I just like to try to maintain balance from sitting on my ass editing and filming to getting out and moving some heavy crap around, you know. So Fat Philosopher, man, I can't think of a guitar brand off the top of my head that has like a custom guitar I'd love to try. I just can't think of anything. Like, nothing's coming to mind. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, here we go. NJ says he used the Behringer B906 to mic up the amp. How great are those microphones? They're unreal. If you can't afford to get an E906, or if you just want a second mic, like, which I wanted a second mic, I think they're great. You know, awesome microphones. Vintage Sound says, better than watching the Olympics. You know, I totally have lost interest in that. I don't know if everyone feels the same way, but like, I think because of everything that's happened in the last 2 years, I feel like no one cares. I could be wrong about that. Maybe people are still right into it, but I used to love watching it. Like maybe 8 years ago or so. I totally forgot about it. Here we go. VS Audio says the Metal Zone has a fantastic active EQ. Oh, that's probably what it is, because yeah, the EQs are pretty awesome. Yeah, Metal Zone's one of those pedals, you know, if you give it to a blues guy, they're going to laugh. But if you give it to someone who can really rock and play that kind of music, it's going to sound awesome. Hey, thank you for the kind words, Anthony. I appreciate that, mate. Cheers. While VS Audio's here, I know I still haven't done the last of the review videos of your pedals. I think I got one left, so it's coming up. Hang in there. Want to buy the Boss Katana 50 Mark II? It's good, right? I mean, it is good for what it is. You just keep in context that odds are you're going to need some time to get the best tones out of it, or you can just run it clean and run pedals into it. I think the thing that makes the Katana good is that you don't have to use all the crap that's built into it. If you've got an external pedal board, you can just use that into the clean channel. So it has an advantage there over some modeling amps that don't take pedals that well. So having like a dedicated sort of solid state clean channel is going to give you an advantage there. But they're good for the right person. I would almost encourage you to get a 100, because you can switch it down to 50 watts or lower. That would be my suggestion. It's always better having a little bit more oomph at your disposal if you do need it, especially if you plan on ever playing live. At least you know you're going to be loud in the room. I don't know if a 50 watt Probably is loud enough in a lot of situations, but 100 is better. And the 2x12, or even the single 12, which is the one that I purchased, sounded huge. So, hey, NJ, thanks, man. Appreciate that. You don't have to do that, mate. Thank you. He sent me a video game controller with a jumping emoticon. I appreciate that, mate. Cheers, thank you. Guys, go check out his channel if you haven't. Anjay's been posting videos. He's from England. He's got a whole bunch of, I hope you're in England. He's got a whole bunch of great pedal videos and stuff like that. And I think we did an interview like about a year ago on his channel. So, yeah, check it out. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. Olympics is an old idea now. Yeah, you could be right. I think also, like, when you see that teams don't send their best, you kind of go, I'm not really that interested. I love basketball, but I'm kind of not that into it at the moment. Rip Mike Howie, Metal Church. Oh, that's no good. I don't know who that is, but yeah, that's never a good thing. I don't know a lot of metal players. I know band names, but I don't know who is in the bands a lot of the time. I just know when I hear stuff, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know this song. Kazuki says, hey Shane, I love your videos. Have you played any baritones, and are you thinking of covering any on your channel? I'd love to try some of them. I just haven't seen a lefty. I know Dan Electro were making one for a while, but I don't know if they... I don't know if they made that in a left-handed guitar, actually. You know what? I'm not too sure, man. I'm not too sure. If I see one at any point in time in a lefty, I'd love to try one. So I'm at a point where I have not seen them anywhere that I can think of. Nor are there any like custom guitars getting made in like left-handed baritone ones. But maybe I can ask Rick to sort of help out with the video. Because it's great having a great right-handed player hanging around. So yeah, if there's anything like that pop up, mate, I'll see what I can do. Chat just moved. Sorry. Ricky's saying, what happened to Laney? I don't know. I kind of feel like they disappeared many years ago. I felt like they stopped making pro amps, and they've just started doing like more affordable options, which isn't a bad thing, but they're not an amp you see gigging musicians play anymore. At least I don't see them play it here. I only know a handful of shops that sell them here in Australia, at least in Melbourne, and they're always the same like entry-level amps, the 15 or 10 watt amps with a 10-inch speaker that rattle when you turn them up too loud. I think sort of what... I owned a Laney VC30, and at the time, like I bought it, I just bought it outright. There's a video of it getting played live on my channel. This is a long time. I think it's still up there anyway. It was part of this is before I even was posting regular videos. I was selling the amp. I always felt like it was a poor man's Vox. The clean channel wasn't as good as the Vox, and the drive channel wasn't as good as the Vox, but it was basically the same thing. Like if you look at the dials, it was all kind of the same. Maybe they just didn't innovate enough, or have their own distinct tone that everyone liked. I know they make some better higher gain amps, but you just don't see them around anymore. It's kind of disappointing. Ricky says, hey Shane, have you tried the new Plimsoul 2 by Fulltone? I have not. That's interesting. I wonder what that one does. I'll have to look that up. Thanks for the heads up. If it's any good, I'll jump on somewhere and pick one up. I like those pedals. It was one of my favorite overdrives of all time. What's it look like? So it looks kind of the... Oh, it's got a bass control in there. Okay, cool. This might be interesting. Plimsoul Mark II. Alright, well, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, I was a big fan of the old one. Yeah. What guitar cable brand would you recommend? You don't have to spend a lot on cables. Don't go spending like $80 on a guitar jack. It's a guitar cable. It's just not worth it. There's plenty of good quality brands out there, right? What did I buy? I bought 2 Diodario cables recently. They've been fine. I also, just to put it in context, in 2010, I bought 2 Guitar Center branded cables. They're still hanging on the wall here. I use them all the time. You would have seen them. They're the ones with the blue nitric connectors. They last forever. So it doesn't really matter. There's some advantages to some cables over others when it comes to noise. And I'm talking about physical noise. Like if you're swinging it around on the ground, sometimes you can hear that coming out of your amp. So as long as, I usually say most cables are pretty much the same. If they've got nitric connectors or something very similar, they'll last you for a long time. So don't get too worried about the brand. The biggest difference is how poorly they'll twist, or how greatly they'll twist, I guess, or they won't. And that's usually why you spend a little bit more on a thicker cable. Don't buy one that's too thin. You know those cables you buy, say you buy a guitar and they throw in one of those cables that are like twisted into a knot about the size of a finger. You walk over to the bin and you throw them out. You know, those are the kind of cables you want to avoid, but anything with good connectors is usually pretty solid. Hey, Shane, oh, sorry, chat just moved. Do I use strap locks on my guitars? You know what I use? I use these little rubber round things, which are these. They're called safety locks. Let me just focus this guy in. Let's try this. I'm using a different camera today. These little things. So they're little like how am I going to do this? Is this going to work? You can't really see the name on them, but Fender make them. These ones are just called like safety lock, and they work great. They're like $3 and you get, or $2 or something. They're just little rubber things and they work great. I used to use proper Scheller locking tuners and all that kind of stuff until a couple of them broke, and then I bought a whole bunch of sort of like these, I don't even know what brand they are off the top of my head, but they weren't very good, and I bought like 15 sets of them at the time and I ended up throwing most of them out because a few of them broke, and then I had to get a grinder and take them off. So I just use these little black things now. You can get these for next to nothing. Hey, thank you, Mark Newcomb. I appreciate that, mate. I'll go back up to the other questions I missed in just a moment. He says, hey, Shane, just had a lefty Cole Clark FL2 made for me. Can you recommend a decent acoustic amp? I have the Katana, but I want to get something else. Yeah, I can, actually. Just give me a sec. I just want to see the name of this. So it depends on, I don't know how much these are, but I'll just double check their price. They are called, so there's one called ACUS, ACUS. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but those things sound unreal, man. They're really, really good. And I also think some of the Fender acoustic amps are pretty nice as well, and they're less expensive than the ACUS. I'm not sure how you say it. It's just ACUS. Have a scroll through those. I played some at Sky Music a while, maybe a year ago or so now, and they were really, really nice. So, yeah, you can't go too far wrong with either of those two. There's also another really great brand that are harder to find, but I think they're called AER. Those are kind of like a self-contained PA system, basically, in a box. They're really, really quite special. So, yeah. And if that's too expensive or whatever, buy a powered speaker from Behringer or something, like a B21D or whatever they were called, like the 10-inch speaker version or the 15, and just run a little, little mixer into it, and you'll get great sound. So, yeah, that might be a less expensive way of doing it, but the ones I mentioned are really, really good. And yeah, thanks for the super chat there, mate. Yeah, just you can't go too far wrong with the Fender, and those ACUS ones or ACUS are really great. Bill says, any problems with your DSLR40, Shane? Mine's going south. None. It's been used to death in the house and also out live. I've never had a problem with it. I've even left it in my car for like 2 weeks, using it each Sunday, and it's been fine. So I'm tipping it's probably just a valve that needs replacing if you're starting to get some weird sort of signal issues, but mine's a CR as well, and not the ones before it. So, if you've got a vintage, what's it called, a Celestion V-type speaker in yours, then you should have the same one I've got. And I mean, amps, all valve amps can have problems. It's just inherent to that design, unfortunately. But usually it's something very easy to fix. So weird that both the Boomers and the Opals beat their respective dream teams in the pre-Olympic matchups. Yeah, I know. I thought that was pretty cool. But again, it's not the best that the US have. You know, it's like a handful of good players and not the rest of the good ones. So, yeah, and it's kind of disappointing to see. I mean, it's great that Australia won, but it's also, you know, that's not the best they've got to offer. So that's what I meant before. It's kind of, I'm not interested in seeing sort of second-rate teams. I want to see the best of the best. But yeah. Do you think we'll get any Squier Classic FSR Classic Vibe Esquires in Australia like Anderson's? You know, maybe, man. It's hard to know. Like, Australia gets certain things other countries don't, and vice versa. So it'd be great to see if we do get some of those. Man, I'd love to try one. I think that would be a great guitar. It's hard to know though, mate. It really is. Stuart. Hey Shane, have you tried the Mesa Boogie Amps? Which one did you like the best? So there's two that I really love. There's the sorry, it's just out of focus slightly. Let me fix this. So there's the California Tweed Epic amp and the Boogie. Actually, there's three. I like the Fillmore 50 as well. It's another really great amp. So California Tweed, the Fillmore 50, and the Studio 22. They're the three that I think are the best for my sort of sound. Ricky says he's still in love with your Flying V. Absolutely. I still use it on videos all of the time. You know, I got to say, I haven't taken it out and played it live as much recently. And sometimes I do think, oh, the case, you know, it's a beast. But you get it out and you play it live, and I'm like, this guitar rocks. It's so light as well, and it's comfortable to play, and it's got easy high fret access. The pickups in that are something special. I love mine. I'm never getting rid of that. Wayne says, great show, Shane. Keep up the good work. Greetings from hot and smoky Kelowna? Is that how you say that? Kelowna? British Columbia? Hey, thanks, man. I hope you're doing well, and I'm sorry I butchered the pronunciation of your town there. We might just take a couple more. I'm starting to pass out here. It's getting kind of late. Hey, Metalhead Hippies here. Welcome, mate. Hey, hope you're doing well. The acoustic channel of the Katana is great too. You know, that's one channel that I never tried. At the time, I didn't have an acoustic guitar, so... Any plans to try... Is it Cubave? Baby? It's a dirt cheap compact multi-effects pedal. I've never heard of that one before. You know, I think unlike a lot of other channels, I don't actually like email companies at all. I just wait to get requests to come in, or I prefer actually to borrow stuff from the shop. It's just a much easier arrangement than spending time emailing to say, hey, send me something. I don't spend much time doing that. If I do that twice or three times a year, that'd be about it. Like, it's not something I do. So if they reached out and I could see what it did, like ahead of time, if I could see their website or whatever, I'd make a decision then. But I just don't email companies. I usually just wait until emails come in these days. All right, we'll take a couple more. Bruce W says, just for the channel. Hey, thank you, Bruce. He says, just for the channel. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Christian says, 6 minutes till freedom o'clock. Absolutely, mate. Gear Junkie says, have yet to explore the DAW interface of software for the Blackstar ID Core 10. Amazing what you get these days for $40. Yeah, man, I tell you what, the sound cards these days aren't that different to each other. There's a time I got to test 5 against each other, and they were all indistinguishable. Some sounded better with the gain cranked on the channels, and but there wasn't much in it. I reckon if there was 5% difference in all of them, I'd be shocked. All right. All right. Well, we might wrap this up. Thank you everyone for the support, and thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. We had 145 people here at its maximum. We've got 148 now. So yeah, if I answered your question, please leave a thumbs up. Again, sometimes I'm on a page and the chat just moves like 4 pages, like it did a few times tonight. So if I missed your question and you need help with something, post it in the replay once this is over, or post it in the comment section. It should be there, right? And I'll reply as I'm timestamping some of this tonight and some of it tomorrow as well. Last question here is from Chris, who says, any thoughts on the Zoom CDR70? You know what? I don't know what that is, but Zoom generally make pretty great stuff. I've got a couple of their portable recorders. Oh, this thing. Yeah, I do know this. I've not tested it, mate. So I saw this years ago. I think Brett Kingman's got a really great video on it. A guy can play his ass off, right? He's one of the best. But I'm pretty sure his video was one of the ones that I watched, and I thought, oh, this looks kind of cool. But yeah, I haven't actually, I haven't used one, so I can't give you really any opinion on it. But all right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it, and thanks for all the super chats and all that kind of stuff, and just for hanging out. I'll leave this up for the replay. Timestamps will be added in, some probably tonight, but not all of them tonight, unfortunately. If anyone else timestamps it for me, I'll send you a free pedal. Man, no, it's all good. I'll do it before I go to bed, so I'm going to wrap this up. All right, everybody, take care, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks to all the mods here as well, John and Sonia and everybody. Thank you. And Cheddar as well is one of the members of the channel now. Appreciate that. So thank you. I'll catch you all soon. See ya.